Hey guys, we are back to round 2 of the Hong Kong-Taiwan Friendly Cup 2016. And here we have Red Sun Hong from Hong Kong versus Say Ha Liu from Taiwan. So we could jump into the battles and start right away. So let's look at Liu's team. Wow, this team is very interesting. We can see that it's Rotom hit.
The legendaries that Seiha has are Yveltal and Rayquaza. And the support options that the other 4 Pokemon he has are Ferrothorn, Crobat, Rotom Heat, and Garchomp.
And we see the teams will Pong is Groudon, Xerneas, Migos, Salamence, Kangaskhan, and Whimsicott.
If I remember correctly, that Salamence is shiny as well. But
who cares about it?
But then, back to Seiha's team. Yveltal can take advantage of the Delta Stream that Rayquaza has, if it's a Mega Rayquaza. And the Rotom here is a pretty interesting option against opposing Groudon, because Rotom's Levitate ability lets it avoid the 4 times weakness to Precipice Blade.
So it's true. It's quite interesting. Wait, come on, we don't want to see us Smeagol stats. Anyway, and Rotom here is a very interesting pick from Seiha, because I would say it's possible to see a red card Rotom hit.
Yes.
So time is running short, and
I think we've seen a few Rotom wash in the previous weeks to counter opposing Kyogre, but then Rotom Heat we haven't really seen it.
Yeah, it's not quite common in this format. So the audience, we are watching the Hong Kong-Taiwan Friendly Cup 2016. It's a round 2 Swiss now.
And the leads come out. It's Crobat and Rotom Heat on one end against shiny Xerneas and shiny Salamence on the other end.
Yes. So, what do you think about the advantage would be? There's a slight, it's quite uncommon this lead matchup, so I cannot possibly say too much about it. So it depends on how both player plays in this round, because maybe, and we see the Salamence is Mega evolving.
I think Seiha's Pokemon are probably a form of speed control. Crobat, of course, has tail.
Oh, it's a hidden power!
Oh!
It's a Scarf! And is able to one-hit KO the shiny.
Yes. I was probably expecting an Electro Web from that Rotom Heat.
And a Taunt. So, a definitely game damaging minimally to both opponents' Pokemon.
That's a bad turn for Red Sun.
True.
And now it's an uphill battle, a 3-on-4 battle. But of course, we have Smeargle here, so anything can happen.
Yes, any Moody Moves and anything could happen.
Well, now we know that the Rotom Heat is scarfed. And probably can't damage Xerneas much.
So I would say we'll see a switch out from Seiha's Rotom Heat.
Will Seiha bring both Yveltal and Rayquaza in the back? Both are very weak to Xerneas.
Yeah, it's a say like winning the first advantage may not be able to bring the very good positionings for Seiha.
Even Garchomp is very weak to Xerneas.
Yeah.
So I expect Ferrothorns in the back.
Ferrothorns. No, but this Rotom stays in the field and use the hidden powers onto the Smeargles. And the taunts incoming from the Crobat. And we'll see a very rare items is
Mental Herb.
Yeah, we won't see it recently. And
so what will this Smeargle do?
And the Dark Voice incoming, will they able to connect both Pokemons of Seiha's?
animation comes
And
out,
it does.
and both of the opposing Pokemon are now asleep.
So, Xerneas could continues to use. Oh, but it wakes up. Continues to use. Yeah, and a defense raise and a speed drops from the Smeagol's. Yeah, but on this time we could. Hong could continues to use a dazzling glimpse from the Xerneas because Seihar still couldn't do any a fair amount of damage onto the Xerneas, so you could taunt him, but yeah, she could just continue to.
And the Rotopian is locked into Hidden Power Eyes.
And we see a switch into Groudons, not wanting to taunt incoming onto the Smeagol, and we see a super fan onto
probably
Xerneas.
Targets down the Xerneas.
And Xerneas continues to use the Dazzling Gleam, still doing the minimal damage on it. And the taunt warms off.
I do think that Red Sun has to be a bit wary of the two Pokemon in the back, and she probably wants to conserve that Xerneas to hit the restricted Pokemon on the other side.
Yes.
Because Groudon doesn't do very well against
Garchomp.
either Rayquaza or Yveltal.
So the Rotom wakes up and Hidden Power Ice still on the Xerneas, and a taunt is incoming. Will Red Sun using the she's not using the Geomancy, a very clever Dazzling Glimpse.
And she
knocks out,
fails to pick out the double knockout.
But any eruptions could finish the Crobat off. Very advantageous.
The core of Xerneas and Groudon has been used a lot over the course of the VGC 16th season, and
we see the Garchomps, and we see the Yveltal, and the Rayquazas.
Yeah, so now we know why Seihao is
continues to chip damaging the Xerneas.
Yeah, Xerneas is very dangerous towards both of those Pokemon,
and is taunt. She cannot use the protect.
Now Red Sun has a few options. She can switch out and get rid of that taunt, or she can just attack and look at the speed.
Maybe she could also sacrificing her Xerneas to allow a free switching for her Smeagol. Yeah, it's still very intense as this movement.
On the other hand, Groudon doesn't threaten Yveltal or Rayquaza that much.
Now Rayquaza is Mega Evolving,
and it sets up
green
its
dragons sorting up the sky, setting up Delta Streams. We see the Sucker Punch from the Yveltals.
Will it be enough to hit the
No! Barely enough. And Moonblast.
It should be able to take out the opposing
Yveltal with one hit. So it proves that it's not probably not that's variant. Dragon Ascent doing a half damage.
But of course, at the same time, it lowers its own defenses.
Yes, and the Rayquaza taking the eruptions very well.
Now it comes down to whether Xerneas will attack, or
now let me remind you that the Xerneas could not protect his turn.
So either a switch out to the Smeagol to conserve that Xerneas.
Those are tough decisions.
Yep. Especially if Groudon isn't carrying a Rock type move or Hidden Power Ice, then the only way that it can hit the opposing
is the eruption.
Yep. Which has been reduced to around 75 in power.
Very tough conditions. We see the extreme speed from the Rayquaza onto the Xerneas, knocking it out. And the eruptions will do 25% of the damage. Putting the it's a critical hit. Would it able to knock it out next turns? So this Mega is coming in the field.
The opposing Mega Rayquaza has to choose which of the opposing Pokemon it wants to attack.
Yes.
If Groudon protects, then Smeargle is free to fire off a Dark Void into the Mega Rayquaza.
Not to mention that there may be a possibilities of fake outs from this Mega.
Yes.
我需要集思廣益一下你。我都有諗緊一樣嘢。淘汰犬、布拉多。
There's a slight advantage on Rexon's side.
Of course, it's 2 Pokemon against 1, but she does have to think
Of
about.
course, the thing is, as long as Seahawk get knocked out and fake out reveals,
I win.
and then eruptions should be able to knock out this Rayquaza. And
A pretty close game, I would say.
yes, the first games of the first game of this set goes to Resant.
好交過。
Of course, we can see how Xerneas is pretty important to the whole matchup. And I think that the bulk of Red Sun's Xerneas played a big part.
And I really think that it's quite important to chip damaging Reson's Xerneas before Rayquaza and Yveltal's coming in. Alright. We'll jump into game 2 right away.
But yeah, as we see from Seiha's lead Pokemon, Rotom Heat and Crobat are both Pokemon that Xerneas do not like to face.
Yes. Maybe.
If I were Red Sun, I might consider bringing Xerneas in the back.
Yes, and using the Kangaskhan to launching the attacks first.
And of course, Mega Salamence is a pretty strong Pokemon, but its Intimidate does not come in useful if Yveltal and Rayquaza are not in the front.
Yes, maybe I would bring the Salamence on the bench. So,
Whimsicott is also a pretty interesting option. Offensive Life Form Whimsicott variants.
so a very quick pick from both players. We jump into game 2 right away. So you're watching Hong Kong-Taiwan Friendly Cup 2016, and the bottom side we have Red Sun from Hong Kong and top is Seiha from Taiwan. So Kangaskhan Xerneas versus Rayquaza's Crobat Lead.
So what does Kangaskhan want to do in this situation? Does it want to fake out that Rayquaza, which is the more obvious
option.
damage output for Seiha? Or it might want to Power Punch and boost its attack,
Yeah, but
or
it's
even
quite
double edge into the.
It seems
Crobat.
like if Red Sun continues to bring Salamence this turn, she might get an advantage in this lead. So Mega Evolutions come. We can see the Mega Evolutions from the Rayquaza. Oh, but one thing to note, you can see that Rayquaza
係咪未見到 protect？
Mega evolved faster than the Kangaskhan. And we see a protect from Rayquaza.
Probably fearing the fake out from that Mega
And a
Kangaskhan.
super fan on the Xerneas.
That takes Xerneas back to half of its health.
The
And
dazzling
Dazzling
gleam.
Probably doesn't do much.
Oh, the very clever power punch onto the Crobat, boosting Kangaskhan's attack doubled.
Xerneas.
對個 K 十個 K 十對 K
應該唔會。 係正常嘅，唔會單。
As I mentioned, that the Kangaskhan is lower than both the Crossers and the Kobe. So Seiha could possibly use tactics of a super fans and the Dragon Ascent to knock out the Kangaskhan.
Of course, if it double targets the Kangaskhan, that leaves Cernius free to either boost or attack into the opposing Mega Rayquaza.
But we still haven't seen what items Rayquaza is bearing. Maybe it's a focus sash or some kind of life. It's not life opt. We see that. So it's super fans coming in onto the Kangaskhan.
Takes it to half
And
its
another
health.
Dragon Ascent, as we mentioned. With it targeting on Kangaskhan or Cernius. And it is just on the Cernius!
Yeah, I think Seiha felt that in the long game, Cernius posed a bigger threat to his team than the boosted Kangaskhan.
We see a boosted double edge of Kangaskhan on the Crobat.
And Kangaskhan does a lot of damage to itself.
Recoil
from that
damage.
recoil. Now it might turn out to be a very tough matchup for Red Sun because with the Cernius gone,
Oh, we see the
Groudon.
Garchomp, finally. Is it the first time that you see the Garchomp
Yes,
in VGC 16s?
yes. It's a very interesting team though because Garchomp can be free to spam its ground type moves with so many flying type on the team, and those flying types are all protected by Delta Stream from Mega Rayquaza.
Yes, we see the drops of usage of Garchomp since VGC 15s because the introductions of Nandorus into the meta.
And of course the introduction of fairy types.
Yes. So very tough decisions for Red Suns. We see the protest from the Rayquaza not wanting to
Okay.
get any
It's a
damage.
double
from
protect.
protect. So
Hey, baby, speed,
not
speed,
wanting to
Hey, honey.
receive the damage.
My honey.
So we see the Moody Moose.
Honey.
It's a speed increase! A very fortunate turn for Red Sun. We see a speed increase of Smeagol.
Baby.
It's a pretty safe turn for both of them, but then of course with Moody on the field, Red Sun has an advantage from that turn.
Baby, 加油！愛你啊！
We see the extreme speed. Should be able to knock out the Kangaskhan.
分晒兩隻佢就得㗎啦。
But we see the dark. Oh, but the earthquake goes first.
哎呀！My God！
It's not able to knock out. It's a knife of.
Go！
And the Dark Void, were they able to connect with both of us dragons? It does. So,
I think Red Sun only has Groudon left in the bag.
yes, but the Groundon is very important because to hit some Groundon should be able to knock out Under Sun should be able to knock out both dragons.
兩隻喐晒㗎啦喎！我望啦呢一套。
So Groundon reversions and the Dazzling Land bringing the sun to the field.
And nullifying that Delta Stream.
So
Both Mega Rayquaza and Garchomp have one guaranteed turn of sleep this turn. So Groudon is pretty much free to do whatever it wants. So will Seiha switch out?
switching out the
Yes.
Rayquaza.
He wants to get that Delta Stream back up.
Yeah, and the Rotom to nerf the eruptions. But the Dark Void is incoming.
And it connects.
So
Hello, baby，
Will it-
Speedy 佢哋，
able Any eruptions?
Eruption, full powered eruption comes out from that Groudon. How much will it
half
do?
the damage to both Pokemon. Moody Boost, special attack increase, and special defense drops.
And there's nothing much Seiha can do than pray his Pokemon wake up easier. Wake up faster. Of course, if Garchomp wakes up on this turn,
And then the Wild Guard is seen from this Red Sun's Smeagol,
just in
just
case,
to prevent the
Earthquake
Garchomp
coming out.
wake out. Yes, and it's really it's a Dragon Core onto Smeagol.
Oh my god.
Ooh.
Oh.
Oh, then
Oh.
it may brings to a very close game. Eruptions coming in. And a critical hit onto the roadside. So it's a one-on-one situation.
this end game looks very similar to the one from game 1, with Primal Groudon against Mega Rayquaza.
Under the Delta Stream.
Keep them power eyes 啦。
But a very interesting thing is that it's one-on-one, so the eruption is still doing a very high powers because it's not sharing with other
baby
opponents.
唔好起身啦。
So we see the Rayquaza sleeping, then when eruptions,
Crit
full
turn
powering,
hit, crit turn hit.
we're able to do a massive damage. Oh!
Is that around 55%?
Yes. Around 40.
Of course, now we just have to hope that Mega
Oh,
Rayquaza...
the protects! Very unfortunate turns.
打完未啊？
Still, we could hope that Dragon Ascent
B B 我哋傾偈 C T 一下好唔好啊
may do a massive.
？T 啊，寶貝。
Hey, Sword Dance!
仆街啦，一嘢秒咗。仆街。
So it
B C T。
turns
Wow,
out to
Sword
be.
Stance.
Oh! Nearly knocked out with a critical!
Oh, barely.
Oh!
仆街。
So the
Now it comes down to
critical
whether...
moment is that whether this Dragon
No,
Ascent
no,
could
no, 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 no.
knock out the Groudon with one single hit. Do you think so?
I think it probably can.
Baby 加油！Baby 加油！
Wow,
That
the-
180 base stat with
Oh,
the Sword Stance.
so one hit KO. So we'll jump into game 3.
That was a very close game.
Very close game. Very good plays from Seiha on the Dragon Core.
And of course, he reveals the Sword Stance of the Mega Rayquaza, which we did not see in game 1. So that might be something to look at going into game 3.
What is beating? Very fast.
But I do think that Red Sun played a bit better in game 2 with
Yeah,
the Pokemon that she
but
chose.
you should bear in mind that the Smeagol has a fortunate speed miss.
Yeah. So it does, we do have to see if Seiha will switch up the leads or the Pokemon that he brings,
我可以雜誌講啫㗎。
or if
咁啊仆
he will
街。
go with the leads that he showed in game 1.
You can see that Seiha is not bringing his volatile this game. And
I think that
Crobat is very critical to Seiha's team because some kind of super fans and chip damage from super fans and also the taunts from the would be critical.
I think it's very interesting that Ferrothorn, we haven't seen Ferrothorn.
Ferrothorn. Maybe the Ferrothorn doesn't do much here because it's not protected by Kyogres, so Eruption could KO it very easy.
But then with a team so weak to Cernius, it probably would be nice to have Ferrothorn to deal with Cernius instead of
I think Seiha's current tactics against the Cern is pretty good.
差少少啦，差少少。
So we see the Crobat Rayquaza once again from Seha, and the Kangaskhan Cernius from.
So exactly the same lead from game 2.
Yeah, but we could maybe a double boosting options will be coming from Wet Suns.
Yeah, we didn't see a taunt coming off from Crobat in
Last
game
game.
2 at all.
So it's a
我有吞過有。
pretty hard guess.
We know that Crobat has taunt, but then he could also go for the Super Fang instead of the taunt that he went for in game 1.
So it's a pretty tough decision here. Maybe he will use Sword Dance. It's because the speed for the speed of Pokemon, the advantage is still on the side of Seahawks.
I would say that getting rid of the opposing Mega Rayquaza would be a huge advantage for Red Sun, because the Mega Rayquaza is probably the core of Seha's team.
So we see that the Rayquaza is Mega Evolving. And once
Setting up its
again,
Delta Stream.
to remind you that it's faster than the Kangaskhan's, which is quite a common indeed. So the Kangaskhan is also Mega Evolving, the baby's coming out of Crunch, and
Will
we
there be
see
a
the
fake out coming
Cernius
out?
from this Cernius.
It probably doesn't want to take a Super Fang.
But both legendary Pokemon is protecting themselves.
What will Kangaskhan do?
And a taunt into the Cernius, but a double edge into the Crobat. Were they able to knock it out with one hit?
That's a good.
No! Close! So close! Wow.
That Crobat is probably EV'd to take Kangaskhan double edge.
But at the same time, the Kangaskhan is probably adamant.
Yeah.
So, a very close knockout from Rexon's Kangaskhan.
It might have been a damage roll.
Yeah, damage roll. In this turn, Rexon could maybe use a Sucker Punch and Dazzling Gleams tactics on both to knock out both Pokemon. And
Then it really depends on what the Crobat will go for. Will the Crobat Super Fang to Cernius, or will it taunt?
so the Cernius is switching out into the ground box.
Yeah, I think Resan realizes that preserving the Cernius is pretty important in this matchup against Seha. And having Cernius with its Power Herb intact would be very advantageous against probably...
Indeed, a risky play from Waxon could be a Sucker Punch onto the Crobat. To prevent, prevent the Super Fan, but this is avoid the attacks of the Super Fans, and the Dragon ascends into the Groundons.
Yeah, it was a very good switch from Cernius, from Red Sun, preserving her Cernius to in the back.
And a double edge onto the Rayquaza, knockout with one hit.
Yeah, using Dragon Ascent lowering the defense really helped. It might not have been able to pick up a KO if Rayquaza had lowered its defenses.
So what Will Seha brings is the Garchomp. It's very advantage against both Red Sun's Pokemon.
As you saw in the last game, this Garchomp is very speedy.
Yes. So to remind you that Garchomp has the inherent values of speed with 102 and Kangaskhan is only 100. And Groundon, of course, 90. So a single Earthquake should be able to finish out both Groundons and Kangaskhan. And not to mention there's a knife of Garchomp. So, Sehan is switching out his Crobat into the Rotom. And a Sucker Punch doing a minimal damage to the Garchomps. Garchomp is also reviewing the rough skins.
Actually, both hits of Kang Swan combined to hit around 55% against the Garchomp.
So we see the earthquakes from the Garchomps, and it knocks out both Pokemons from Resonant.
Of course, that will bring it down to under half its health because of that Life Orb recoil.
So it really depends on which Pokemons Resonant is going to bring as a fourth members of the team. Maybe it's Smeagol or maybe it's Whimsicott, but I do think Smeagol should be the higher chance.
And Xerneas is at full health, so
The advantage is on Rexon's side because a fake out Geomancy could allows it to bring allows the Xerneas to boost it into a very fearsome statistics.
and on the other side, Seiha does not have any of his legendary Pokemon anymore.
So that we see the fake out from the Smeargle. And Rock Slice coming in.
No.
Lucky
Smeargle
this Smeargle
avoids.
avoids the attack. Were they able to boost it? Or the flinch? Oh, it flinch. And the multi boosts the speed once again.
But then, as we saw from the last game, a boosted Smeargle does not outspeed that Garchomp.
And the Rotons.
Oh yeah, the Choice Scarf Rotom.
A very tough decision because Smeagol still have the access to the right White Guard to prevent the Rock Slide and also the the Earthquake. Xerneas decided to use the Protect trick. And the Dragon Core were able to knock it out with one hit. Oh no, it's a critical hit.
The trick is a very interesting option because swapping the Choice Scarf with the Power Herb prevents Xerneas from using Geomancy.
But on the other hand, it limits to the Rotom to use the trick, and a Choice Scarf Xerneas is still very threatening.
Yep.
都好嘅。
So we see the earthquakes coming out from the Garchomp. Should be able to do 50% of the damage to it.
Wow, you see that Xerneas with that huge HP stat. Just take that Earthquake
So
with ease.
basically, Rotom could use any attack at this moment, and I don't think the Dazzling Gleams could knock it out with a single hit.
Of course, Xerneas has an extra turn to attack because now it outspeeds the Rotom Heat.
But I don't. But
Choice Scarf.
I think Thunderbolt, either Thunderbolt or Overheat could finish the Xerneas with one hit.
知啊。
So the Dazzling Gleams coming out from Xerneas. And it's not effective with both Pokemon. And we see the Thunderbolt here. Knocking out without
輸咗啦。
any doubts. So, game 3 goes to Seiha, and congratulations to him. Wow, what a pretty game.
I really like Seiha's team though, based around the Delta Stream ability of Mega Rayquaza, and using those flying types to make use of that Delta Stream while having Garchomp as a damage output.
Yes, and also the Garchomp is a very interesting choice because we see too many Primals Kyogres at this moment, and Kyogres could one-hit KO with the Ice Beam, or even the Origin Powers or the Water Spout could do a massive damage.
Yeah, the Rotom Heat is also a very interesting option because the Rotom Heat with its Fire type takes minimal damage from opposing Xerneas.
So, and we finished game 2 here, and we'll be back in game 3. So, See you.